Okay, hello, Gavin Strange. How are you doing, my friend?
I am very well, thank you, brother. It's nice to be here. Nice to be here with you and Dan. Yeah, I'm all good, thank you, on this lovely drizzly day.
Yeah, it's always a drizzly
Where are
day.
you on this drizzly day?
Bristol, UK, in the deep depths of Yatton, a little village about 20, 25 minutes out of central Bristol. Nice little quiet place where I live with my family, and yeah, safe and secure here at the minute. And so in my little den, in my space that's full of pink neon lights, so I'm good.
Nice.
It's
What's
great.
uh, what's been keeping you busy in lockdown?
Oh, mate. Well, work. So by day, I'm a director and a designer for Aardman Animations, a creative studio in Bristol. And that's my day job, which I absolutely adore. And I've been super busy with that. Very, fortunate, and realize how lucky I am to have a job, and how lucky I am to have a job that's keeping me busy. Which is great. So I've been jumping around on some big projects there, and being a director and a designer, I jumped from directing moving image to being a classic graphic designer, which is my beginning. So that's been super fun. And then in the evenings, I'm a big sort of believer in passion projects, and I basically do everything that no one asked me to do. So from making my own music to music visualizers to 3D art to photography to skateboards to clothing to yeah, I really enjoy having my own time to play. As I get older, that time changes, as I've got a young son who will be 4 in February, and we've got another baby on the way. So it's a constant battle of finding the hours and the minutes to get stuff done. But that's all part of the challenge. So yeah, it's always nice to be busy.
That's amazing. It makes me feel lazy, which is great because that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So how did you get involved in Aardman? That's seems like a lot of people's dreams, whether that's their kind of career path or otherwise.
Yeah, and it was my dream as well when I moved to Bristol. I moved to Bristol because I didn't go to university. I sort of started the industry when I was 17 years old as a young junior graphic designer. And I moved to Bristol because I didn't do the uni thing, and I felt like I needed to live elsewhere. And I was born and raised in Leicester in the Midlands. And I came to Bristol, fell in love with the city, like a lot of people do, because of its culture, its music, its art, its everything. And when I moved here, I demanded that my friend take me to the Aardman building, and he marched me there. It was absolutely pouring down. It was a horrible day, and we got to it, and he went, "Look, there you go," because we were all soaked, and it was not a particularly inspiring building. But I just remember thinking, oh, wow, just the magic that would happen. And then sort of fast forward maybe a couple of years, I basically used every network I could to get my work out there. At the time, I was a freelance digital designer, but in my own time, under the name of Jam Factory, I was putting out everything and anything: character design, illustration, all this, again, the other stuff I wanted to be hired for. And I just made sure I used every network. And in Bristol, there was a few social networks that sort of predominantly would advertise jobs and positions within the creative industries in Bristol. And I just made sure I was on them all the time and was keeping them fed and updated with everything. And one day I got an email that said, "Hello from Aardman." And I fell on the floor, and it was the creative director of the brand new interactive arm of Aardman, which was brand new at the time, 12 years ago. And said he'd seen my work and liked it. Did I want to pop in for a chat? And that was 12 years later, and I've never left.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I would never leave if I was you.
No, I'm really not. You're going to have to drag me out of there, honestly.
So what projects have you been working on there in those 12 years?
I mean, it's been a bit of a mix. I joined there as a senior interactive designer, and but because, again, like I really, and like all of us, we're so interested in so many different sort of topics and media and disciplines, and that's kind of what makes us all interesting, right? And all actually kind of unique, even though sometimes we're all in the same industry, but actually everyone's appetites are different. I just really sort of made sure I didn't hide that. And luckily for me, Aardman is a very supportive place. And so from the very early days, I launched a thing called Droplets, which was a vinyl toy. I'd probably only been at Aardman for 6 months, and I had a big launch event in Bristol, and people were queuing to get in to see the event and to buy the things, which was awesome. And in the queue was Peter Lord, one of the co-founders of Aardman.
Wow.
And bless him, he was there because he had seen me post about it on the company intranet, and bless him, just wanted to support, wanted to come and check it out. He doesn't need to do that. He's got an OBE. He you know, he's the king of Bristol. But that early on made such an impact on me, that this guy cared to see what his people, his creators, his employees were doing. And that just made me think, wow, you know, that's so nice. And it just gave me the energy and the confidence to continue sharing, basically. And basically over the years, I made no bones about the fact that I was a designer, but also I loved filmmaking, and I did lots in my own time. And those projects got bigger and bigger in scope. And as they got bigger in scope, I got given support in the way of people's time, people's help, borrowing equipment. And then basically that led to a path of me becoming a represented director at Aardman, where I was then being senior designer and then directing as and when projects will come up. And I got very fortunate that I got to direct some really interesting projects that went well, thankfully. And then I officially became a director and a designer. So for me, you know, as a fan of this place and of the culture and of everything they've made, to join also not only to be there, but to join as one role and then to integrate my utter passions into it together is, you know, that's why I'm never leaving, because I'm so thankful and grateful for that opportunity.
It's amazing, man.
Living the dream, bro. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, what an amazing
and I don't ever want to take it for granted. I really don't, because I do know how lucky I am, but you know, hopefully I want to repay that. And this is a thing I talk about a lot, that as soon as someone gives you their trust, you want to repay that trust in kind. You know, it's such a simple thing, but a lot of companies, a lot of individuals, a lot of families don't get that. You know, people want to control things because, and I get it, it's a very natural impulse to sort of be scared of change and be scared of things. But as soon as you give someone that trust to be who they are, yes, they'll probably do it differently to how you're imagining it, but they will do it with honesty and heart and passion because they've been given the reins and the freedom. So that's something I really treasure, basically. So yeah, absolute dream job for sure.
Amazing, man. Wow. I can't wait to see what future stuff comes out of the Aardman / Jam Factory studio. And talking about...
Who knows? You know, every year's been different.
Yeah, of course. So talking about Jam Factory is your kind of alias, your alternate name, as it were. And, you know, you're working on... You mentioned before, you know, you're very passionate about like doing different side projects and really, you know, pushing that as a creative. And, you know, I've been a follower of you for many years, and I think we met through a mutual friend, Al from NE40, where you did some designs for a t-shirt for him. I think a couple of t-shirts actually, and I've got your print somewhere as well. And, you know, you've been doing all sorts of stuff, from creating like little pixel art to playing with synths on Twitch and doing all this fun stuff. So can you talk about like Jam Factory and how that kind of started and came about? And
yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think an alias and an alter ego just comes from my love of rap. You know, just growing up, that was my my education into music. That I found myself as my babysitter at the age of 11. She shouldn't have done this. She gave me a double-sided cassette with Cypress Hill's Black Sunday one side and Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style on the other. It was 1993. Incredible babysitting. I'd never heard anything like it. And I've got a vivid memory of being on the year 7 trip to France on the school bus. I put this cassette in, and I remember I didn't know what bass was because all you'd listen to is on the radio. But my mum and dad got me Sony Walkman, and I remember pushing it in because the opening bars of Black Sunday by Cypress Hill with the do, 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 do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it exploded my mind. So it became this obsession with rap because it was obviously just so different from a white working class kid in Leicester to hearing about the streets of Compton and, you know, Latino and black gangs and the Bloods and the Crips and just this world. So I became sort of obsessed with rap. And then, you know, the name. So Wu-Tang, you know, Wu-Tang Forever came out when I was at school, and, you know, just multiple aliases, multiple alter egos was fascinating for me because you could hide behind it. And so I basically desperately wanted my own cool name and couldn't think of one. So I just looked for an available domain name and went, Jam Factory, and it was free. And so I stuck it. So I desperately wanted it to be cool, and I just couldn't think of anything cool. And long story short, it was an online digital place that I used exactly as what an alter ego should be for, a place to kind of I wasn't using it to hide, but I was using it to sort of experiment. And I would just upload everything to my website, whatever it was. Especially when I was sort of 17, 18 and learning, whether it was photography, filmmaking, illustration, everything I was trying my hand at. And I've basically kept that mentality for 20 years. I'm 38 now. And I still have Jam Factory as my place where I put everything I do, but I put what I've done in the daytime next to what I did at 3 o'clock in the morning, because actually, if someone's looking creatively to hire you, they don't care when you did it. It doesn't matter if you did it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 a.m. If it's good and it speaks to them, then it's valid, isn't it? And so I just feel like that's worked, and that's kind of honest. And so I've just continued to do it, play, experiment, and basically sort of just follow the stuff that makes my heart sing, because life is way too short not to.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your kind of aesthetics founded in hip hop have influenced your aesthetics beyond that, including your work with Aardman?
Mate, that is such a great question. No one has ever asked me that question, ever. That is an awesome question. Do you know what? I absolutely think it is, because I was obsessed with Hype Williams rap videos in the 2000s era. I think everything that was formative to me, in the year 2000, I was 18. And so that's when my first job, my first creative explorations, I would watch MTV2 all the time. So yeah, the work of Chris Cunningham, and Spike Jones and Hype Williams. So his, Hype's fisheye lens, super bright color, over the top caricature style, I think kind of is embedded in me. Fuse that with video games, 90s and 2000s video games of fighting games, and everything was just kind of lurid, right? Yeah, I think that's, and I mean, my obsession with pink, I've got pink lighting here, just sort of everything's just OTT, and I think I find a joy in it. I think life can be really, really tough. We know it right now, of course it is. And I think graphics, visuals, art, music, I try and make stuff that's got energy and passion and sort of makes your eyeballs burn for a few brief seconds, because what a joy, what a privilege to have to connect with someone in that way, and kind of use all of those things together, art, music, sound design, blah blah blah, to sort of be quite intense and but fun. Fun. I don't want to scare people. I just want to make stuff that makes people go, well, okay, that's pink.
I mean, it works, man. You look great, so keep it up.
Thanks.
And I also heard that Wu-Tang's actually new album, they were going to call it Jam Factory, but then they saw that you'd already chosen it, so so yeah.
Sorry, boys.
Yeah. I'll tell them. I'll send them a postcard. So you mentioned, like kind of following your passion and stuff, and you wrote your first book, which I have here, called Do Fly, which was part of the Do book company series, which you wrote, which kind of talks about pursuing your passion and all that kind of stuff. And I'd love to know, like, how did that come about? Why did you decide to write it, and talk about that processing, writing it? I
mean, writing's really difficult. I didn't know this going in. So how it came about was I've done talks for since 2008, for about 12 years. And they started terribly. I was very, very bad, and was so nervous, but I did enjoy it, because I think the overriding feeling is I love what I do. And I'm so fortunate, because I come from a place of, not formal education, purely just passion. I want to share that passion. So I would end up doing talks, and they would develop over time that would use the pieces of work as more sort of crutches in a talk, and then I would sort of dissect the lessons I'd learned creatively about sort of advancing and going forwards. And as my career changes and develops, there's always something new to learn, and then it's nice to share. And so I would develop this body of talks that I was very fortunate enough to go around and do in different places, a lot around the UK, but then over time abroad, which was great. And I ended up doing a talk at the thing called the Do Lectures, which is this awesome organization, an awesome event that happens every year, where they basically curate the speakers, but also curate the attendees. And the reason for that is to get people together that are different. They try and curate them so interesting conversations happen. Sort of the talks is one thing, but actually over dinner, because you all stay there for 3 days. It's in the middle of nowhere in beautiful Wales. You don't pop off anywhere. You all, the conversations are organic. So it's curated in that way, which is fantastic. And the Do Book Company publishes books by people who've spoken there. And I had the fortune of speaking there to 2015, which was amazing, because it's all about people who do stuff. That's generally the thread. And so I was talking about sort of being creative. And it was me that reached out to them, actually. I read one of their books called Do Purpose by David Hyatt, who's the co-founder of the Do Lectures and Hyatt Denham and Howie's back in the day. And I read his book cover to cover, and for the first time ever, I'd read something that was sort of formatted how I write and how I write my talks, kind of big, bold headlines, and then a bit of sort of hopefully energy-filled guff to back it up. And for the first time ever, I thought, well, maybe I could do something like this, perhaps. And I just skipped to the back of the book, saw the email address, and said, hello. My name's Gavin. We didn't meet, but I did speak at the Do Lectures. Honest, I really love David's book. I'd love to write something for you. And so conversations went back and forth. And then Miranda, the amazing founder of Do Book Company and editor, said, yeah, let's do it. And then it was terrifying because it was like, oh, I think I wanted to have written a book. Now I've got to write the book to get to that end bit. And so, yeah, it was a great process, and I learned so much. I learned actually how there's 2 5 o'clocks in a day. There's a 5 p.m. and there's a 5 a.m., which I didn't know until I had to figure out how to write a book. And so the only time my brain would work, because I was doing my passion project at night, design at 9 p.m. onwards is great. I feel like I've trained myself for so long to do it. Writing words and trying to formulate coherent sentences just wasn't coming. And it was a friend who's also a writer called Finbar Hawkins. He suggested try just an hour, get up 1 hour earlier, but while the house is still, the world is quiet, and it worked for me. And so, yeah, so I had a lovely process writing that. I mean, it wouldn't be what it is without the support of Miranda and the editing team. I learned how good it is. And you guys must have this in the world of production and music and audio as well. Actually having a producer, having an editor, having someone who is subjective for what you're trying to create and offering you a slight tweak or just a steer, and because obviously again it comes back to control, and you think no, I can't let anyone do that. But actually, a great editor / producer is going to steer you very gently and have your best intentions at heart. And I learned that working with them. And so, yeah, and then the book existed, but being excited, I wanted to do the design and the illustrations and make a film, and all of that stuff. So it's a joy. Honestly, it took me totally by surprise, and it still sells now, which is fantastic. And that's a joyous thing, I guess, again, about music and music and art and books. They have a release, but then they exist forever.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I hadn't really thought about that before. And that's special. That's really special. I think that's very cool to be a part of that. So yeah, so it's lovely that exists and that's out there. I'm very, very proud of it for sure.
Well, on that basis, what's next for you, and what do you hope to leave on this earth with all of this plethora of projects that you're up to?
I mean, what I would love to leave, I honestly, if I could leave anything, if I could be remembered for anything, I just want to sort of leave an energy of positivity, of fun, of silliness, of just try. I just want to, if I can, just make someone's day a tiny bit brighter, whether that's reading a silly sentence in a book or making something bright, or just if I could have any impact, it would be try to have a positive impact, energy, fun, warmth, charm, anything like that. But what's for me next is, I don't really know. My plan is there is no plan. Aardman, I've got some big projects coming up next year, which are great. And I finished a huge project at the start of this year, directing a film for Greenpeace, which was it was the most important projects I've ever worked on.
Wow.
Working with them to tell an impactful, emotional film that I was lucky enough to direct. That feels like that's the kind of legacy I want to leave. It was telling a funny and emotional story with using animation, with working with an incredible crew. That I wanted to do more of that. Hopefully longer pieces of content. If I'm going to be dreaming big, I'd love to direct a feature. I would absolutely love to do that. But you've just got to put in the energy, hours, time, effort to learn and to grow. as a person. And then in my own time, I just want to continue learning, and you know, I want to be a better dad, I want to be a better husband, I want to be a better creative, or just, you know, just want to keep on learning, because nothing, you know, nothing is promised. If there's anything this is shown as, nothing is promised, and it kind of terrifies me, but in a good way to just get cracking, stop scrolling Instagram and just get on and make something.
Amazing, man. Well, thank you so much. I'm definitely feeling very inspired and full of pink positivity after that chat with you, man. So yeah, everyone in the chat, please do put your ones up. Please go follow Gav on. He has a show on Twitch, which he does. What? Remind everyone what your Twitch.
Twice weekly. It's twitch.tv/jamfactorylive, and just creative, positive stuff. Hopefully, a place to escape the horrors of the internet for a few hours each week.
There you go. What a plug. And please do go online, buy this book. It's really great. I'm going to read it again, actually, because
thanks, babes.
I do enjoy it. But yeah, thank you very much again, Gav, aka Jam Factory, for this talk. And yeah, we'll speak
Thank you
to
for having me. You guys are awesome.
Take care, man. Bye.
Nice one. Cheers, bro.